If you watch a herd of cows in a pasture for long enough, you will notice they spend almost their entire day chewing. They swallow a mouthful of grass, only to bring it back up hours later and chew it all over again. Every animal on Earth has to extract nutrients from its environment to survive, but the physical mechanics of that extraction process depend entirely on the specific type of food an animal consumes. A predator tearing into meat is processing proteins and fats that dissolve relatively easily, but an herbivore eating grass has to physically break through the rigid, almost indestructible cell walls of plants. And birds face their own anatomical hurdle. They swallow hard seeds whole, but lack the teeth to crush them. To solve these problems, animals rely on highly specialized internal anatomy. Their digestive tracts operate as evolutionary machines, engineered to break down the most difficult biological materials on the planet. The primary hurdle with eating grass is a carbohydrate called cellulose. Cellulose forms the rigid cell walls of plants. Standard animal digestive enzymes, the chemicals that easily dissolve proteins and fats, cannot break cellulose apart. Looking at this diagram of a cow's digestive system, we can see how they bypass this limitation. Ruminants possess a stomach divided into 4 distinct chambers: the rumen, reticulum, omasum, and abomasum. When a cow first swallows grass, it enters the largest chamber, the rumen. The rumen acts as a massive fermentation vat. It houses billions of microscopic bacteria that actually possess the necessary enzymes to dismantle those tough cellulose molecules. After this initial microbial breakdown, the partially fermented plant matter moves into the reticulum. From there, it is sent back up the esophagus to the mouth as cud. The cow then manually chews this cud to physically grind down the softened fibers. Once re-swallowed, the finely ground cud bypasses the first 2 chambers and enters the omasum, which squeezes out excess water. Finally, the concentrated matter reaches the abomasum, where the cow's own stomach acids and enzymes finish extracting the nutrients. Cows, sheep, and goats do not actually digest the tough plant matter themselves. Instead, they survive by outsourcing the most difficult chemical processing to a microscopic workforce living inside their gut. Birds face an entirely different engineering problem. Flight demands massive amounts of energy, which they often get from calorie-dense seeds. Heavy jaws and teeth would weigh a bird down, so they swallow these hard items whole. When a bird swallows a seed, it travels down the esophagus and into a specialized holding pouch called the crop. Here, the food is safely stored and slowly softened by moisture. From the crop, the seed moves into the gizzard. The gizzard is a thick, highly muscular organ designed to exert immense physical pressure on whatever passes through it. Because the gizzard lacks internal grinding surfaces, many birds intentionally swallow small stones and grit from their environment. These rocks sit permanently inside the organ. As the thick, muscular walls of the gizzard contract and churn, they use the swallowed rocks to pulverize the hard seeds. The organ functions exactly like a natural internal blender. Lacking the biological anatomy for mechanical digestion, birds have adapted to use the raw materials of their environment as substitute teeth. In aquatic environments, animals often rely on plankton. These energy-packed organisms exist only as microscopic particles dispersed across massive volumes of water. If a large fish tried to actively hunt and bite these tiny prey items one by one, the physical effort of swimming would burn far more energy than the microscopic food provides. To extract this invisible food source, many fish and amphibians have evolved specialized mouthparts and gill structures that act as a biological sieve. Instead of chewing, the animal simply gulps massive volumes of water. The internal sieve tracks the tiny food particles inside the throat, while the excess water is safely expelled out through the gills. Filter feeding bypasses the energy deficit of hunting. It turns the animal into a passive, high-efficiency harvesting net that uses the fluid dynamics of water to collect thousands of meals in a single breath. Looking at this side-by-side comparison of the ruminant stomach, the bird gizzard, and fish gills, we can see 3 radically different biological paths. Yet whether through microbial fermentation, mechanical grinding with stones, or aquatic filtering, they all achieve the exact same goal: breaking food down into usable molecules to fuel the animal cells. Understanding these ancient internal systems helps us address modern challenges. The cow's rumen, in particular, has become a major focus for climate scientists. That microscopic fermentation process we looked at earlier produces a significant byproduct, As the bacteria break down the grass, they release large amounts of methane gas, which the cow then exhales into the atmosphere. By studying the exact chemical environment of the rumen, scientists and agricultural engineers are currently formulating new livestock diets and feed additives. These precise nutritional tweaks aim to inhibit the methane-producing bacteria without harming the cow's ability to digest cellulose. A cow chewing its cud is the visible evidence of millions of years of evolutionary problem-solving. It is a highly specialized biological mechanism that now directly intersects with the future of our climate.